In this movie I will explain you how you can switch your light in ETS5. So the first thing I have to do is to check with which kind of button, push button, I will switch on or off the light in, for example, the living room. So I have here, for example, push button interface, and I have to have a look to the group objects, and I see that I have 4 input objects of length of 1 bit. So this means that this is a switch object of 1 bit anyway, and with that bit I can switch on or off the light. So I send a 0 or 1. And when I'm sending this switching object, this 1 bit, the actor, which is connected to a light or a lamp, has also 1 bit of length. So this is the object function switching again, and this means that I can connect, I can link via the group address the switching object of the output and the switching object of the input. So another thing, first, before connecting those inputs and outputs, I will have a look also in the parameters, and now I just have a look to the input function can I also see. So I selected the binary input. I can also select that this push button interface can function as an output, but now for the moment I selected the binary input function, and the first function I can choose for the switching function. So no function switching, dimming, shutter blind, and so on. I'm not interested. Now I'm interested in only switching. So I choose for switching, and I can see that the command on the rising edge, this means when I really push the push button who is connected to this interface. In fact, the KNX sees this interface, and the interface is connected to a switch. But KNX don't know which kind of switch it is. Doesn't matter. But it knows that it will receive on the function input 1, on the input 1, a 1 or a 0. And when I'm really touching the input switching, so when I'm really switching the push button, the real push button, then he will receive on the input 1 a rising edge from 0 to 1, when I'm really making the act switching from 0 to 1. And this means that I want to have, for example, in this example, that on the rising edge the light will be switched on, and I can also select an action when I release the push button. This is again the falling edge. This means that it will give a signal from 1 to 0, and then that the light can, for example, be switched off, but it's not interesting for me for the moment. So now I'm choosing for no reaction. So I want, when I have on my input 1 a signal from a rising edge from 0 to 1, that the lamp will be switched on. And I can choose, for example, for other input, is another button that I see here, switching object for input function 2, that on again the rising edge there will be another command, and now I choose, for example, the off function, and when releasing falling edge, no reaction again. So this is a combination from one button and another button, and the first button I choose for the function turn on the light, and the second I will choose for the function turn off the light. And I can also, if I want to, choose for not on or off, but toggle. And the toggle function means that I only need one input, one push button, real push button, to connect to this input, and then with one input I can toggle, I can switch on or off the same lamp. But now for this example I will show you how you can use those two inputs. First input, so I have to be aware that I selected the right input. This is input 1.1. Have a look. 1.1 is the on command. So with the 1.2, this is another object that I can use. Now I'm not using this, this third one, but I'm not using this. So when I have a look, I just selected the first one, 1.1, an on reaction on the rising edge. Input 2, off reaction. So input 2 is also object 2.1. Have a look again. Input 2, this is 2.1, so this is an off command. And then with those two inputs, I can switch on or off a lamp or a light. And now I'm looking for an actuator or an actor who is connected to a lamp, and for example, suppose on output 1 there has been connected a lamp, then I can, with this connection, this virtual cable, this is the group address, it's kind of a virtual cable who connects the inputs to the outputs. Keep in mind that the length is the same. These are 3 1-bit objects, so they can be connected, otherwise they couldn't be connected. And then when I'm downloading this and programming this, then I can, with 2 buttons, 2 objects, one button is the input 1, the second button is the input 2, and with one I can switch on the lamp, and with the second I can turn off the lamp. So this is the first example, but I can also choose for, just like I mentioned, I have to go to the push button interface again, input 1 for only toggle, and suppose input 2, I don't use it anymore, I don't need it, I use it for something else maybe. And then input 1, I can use it for just toggling, then I can unlink input 2, and when I'm downloading this, then I can toggle with input 1, the output, the switching, so I can turn on, off, or can turn on the same light in the living room with only one push button. So you have to choose, you can choose for toggle or for on off, it's up to you.